Now let's dive into DKIM, that is our second authentication standard. So DKIM stands for Domain Keys Identified Mail, and it's a way for senders to take responsibilities for the messages that they send. Actually, it allows the receiver to verify that the message was actually sent by the claimed sender and that it has not been altered in transit. And similar to DKIM, it is also a method that helps validate messages sent from your organization to prevent spoofed senders that are used in business email compromise, ransomware, and other phishing attacks. And if we go into more detail, here one or more private keys are generated for a domain and are used by the source email system to digitally sign important parts of outbound messages. And these message parts include the from address, the to address, subject, MIME version, and the message body. And the digital signature that we are talking about is stored in the DKIM signature header field in the message header and remains valid as long as intermediate email systems don't modify the signed parts of the message. And the signing domain is identified by the D equals value in the DKIM signature header field. And the corresponding public keys are stored in DNS records for the signing domain, and the destination email systems use D equals to value that is there in the DKIM signature header to identify the signing domain, look up through the public key in the DKIM DNS, and use the public key to verify the message signature. Now let's see how all this happens. Just for your information, to enable DKIM for a domain, we add two CNAME records to the public DNS, and these records serve as the public keys, allowing recipient email servers to verify whether the email content was altered during transmission. And once the recipient server verifies the signatures, DKIM passes and the email is considered authentic. So let's again assume that we have two organizations, abc.com and xyz.com, and abc.com has added DKIM records to their public DNS. So when an organization enables DKIM, the private key is securely stored on Microsoft servers, and all outbound emails from that organization are digitally signed with this private key. So in this particular case, when abc.com sends an email, it is signed with DKIM signatures. And when the XYZ email server receives the email, it will extract the DKIM signatures from the email header field and query the public DNS for the corresponding public key published by abc.com. And once the recipient email server retrieves the public key from DNS, it will validate the email, and once the email is verified successfully, DKIM will pass. Otherwise, if the email was altered during transmission, the DKIM fails and the email will be rejected or quarantined. So this is how the DKIM works in the real world. Now let's take a look through the syntax for DKIM and how we can create one. So the basic syntax of DKIM CNAME record for a custom domain in Microsoft365.com looks like this. So it is hostname : selector1 dot underscore domain key points to address or value, and that is selector1 dash domain GUID dot underscore domain key dot initial domain. So here the domain GUID is my domain. So in this particular case, my domain is easy365.com, and the initial domain is the domain that I first got when I enrolled for Office 365. So in this current case, it's easy365learning.onmicrosoft.com. So for my case, the selector will look like this, that is selector1-easy365learning.com dot underscore domain key dot easy365learning.onmicrosoft.com, and the selector2 will look like this, that is selector2-easy365learning.com dot underscore domain key dot easy365learning.onmicrosoft.com. Actually, in Microsoft 365, two public-private key pairs are generated when DKIM signing using a custom domain or subdomain is enabled. The private keys that are used to sign the message are inaccessible, and the CNAME records point to the corresponding public keys that are used to verify the DKIM signature, and these records are known as selectors. I must tell you that only one selector is active and used when DKIM signing using a custom domain is enabled, and the second selector is inactive. and it's activated and used only after any future DKIM rotation, and then only after the original selector is deactivated. And the selector that's used to verify the DKIM signature is stored in the S= value in the DKIM signature header field. Now let's see how DKIM can be enabled there in Office 365. To enable DKIM for a specific domain in Office 365, we need to ensure that two CNAME records are published there in the DNS. If you try enabling DKIM through PowerShell or GUI without adding that CNAME records, it will throw us an error stating that the CNAME records are missing. So let's try that first, and I'll go to security.microsoft.com. We'll navigate to Policies and Rules. And then I'll go to Thread Policies. Under Thread Policies, I'll click on the option that says Email Authentication Settings. And then I'll go to DKIM. So over here you see both my domains are listed. The initial domain, that is easy365learning.onmicrosoft.com, and the custom domain that I added later on, that is easy365learning.com. So we do not need to enable DKIM for onmicrosoft.com domain, and Microsoft takes care of it automatically. Now let's see if it will allow me to enable DKIM for this custom domain. So I toggle that button there, and let's see if I get any error that says CNAME is missing. Yes, so it says validation exception, CNAME record does not exist for the config. Please publish the following CNAME records first. And at this time, if you check the DKIM configuration through PowerShell, it will say that it's disabled. So I'll run the command that says get-DKIM signing config. So you see, it's not enabled. Now let's add those CNAME values there in the DNS host, and after that we'll see if it will allow us to enable DKIM. So to get those values, I'll just click on this domain, and from here I have this information that I need to put there in the DNS host. Let me go to the DNS host, and from there I'll try creating a new record. It asks me what the type of record I want to create, so I'll just select CNAME. Now it asks me to put the name or the host name, so what I will do is I'll just copy the host name from here and I'll paste it. Then I need to put the value for this selector, so I'll copy the value from here and I'll again paste it here. The time to live can be 1 hour, so that's fine. I'll just save this one. So it says that the DNS record has been added successfully. Similarly, I'll add the secondary or the selector too. Let me click on add new record. So again, the type will be CNAME, and I'll copy the name or the host name from here. Under value, I'll just copy this and paste it here. We'll select the TTL as 1 hour and save it. So the record has been updated successfully. It's just gonna take a couple of minutes for the records to propagate across the globe, and we will verify the same through MX Toolbox or CMD. To verify if these CNAME records have been propagated, let's go to MX Toolbox, and from here we'll select DKIM lookup, and the format would be domain and the selector value, that is selector 1. So yes, I can see that this has been propagated. Now if we want to check the same thing through command prompt, what we will do here is I'll do ns lookup set type equals to CNAME, and I'll just copy this host name from here and paste it and put period, my domain, that is easy365learning.com. So yeah, it's verified, so I can see that the CNAME record has been updated. Now let's try enabling DKIM and see if it will allow us to do so. So I'll just click over here on this button and let's see what happens. Okay, it says valid. Perfect. So that's done. The DKIM is enabled on this particular domain, and if we want to verify the same through PowerShell, what we can do here is we'll put the same command that we had put before, and it says DKIM is enabled on this particular domain. That was all about DKIM, but please watch my upcoming video where I will be diving into DMARC, that is Additional Authentication Standard in Microsoft 365. And please don't remember to like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much for tuning in.